Whew, I always get so nervous when we get close to the end of that countdown. Good afternoon, good morning. I guess it depends on where you are. For me, it is the start of my good afternoon. My name is John Ludlam, one of your college recruiting experts here on College Recruiting Explained. I am joined by my co-host. You might remember him from episode 2, Mr. Pat O'Malley. P.O., how are you doing today, sir?
John, I'm blessed, man. I'm grateful to be here with you. I always tell you, I love that hat, man. It fired me up with the Ascenders white with the blue lid, man. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. I am happy to be here. I'm happy to be with all of you. As always, we are live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. I'm seeing the numbers pop up higher and higher. So really excited to see all of you on with us on this wonderful Thursday, this wonderful Friday, Junior, this very wonderful April 9th, 2026. Only one we're ever going to get. So I'm excited to make the most of it. As it says right there at the bottom of your screen, follow along, or I guess at the top, depending on if you're on your phone. Be sure to ask your questions in the chat. We will try and save some time at the end of all of these episodes, not just to talk about the things that we are planning on talking about, which today is going to be the spring signing period, but we also want to answer the questions that you have. I know last time we had some current NCSA clients giving some love in the chat, some people who actually got the chance to work with you, Pat. Pretty cool there, huh?
That was cool. Shout out the Sanchez family. That guy's wheeling and dealing. I believe he was in Bradenton this week doing his thing. So shout out the Sanchez family. Shout out all my amazing families in the entire community, what we're building here at NCSA IMGA.
Well, and I know you and we're up a little bit more north, so I'm very jealous of being down on campus. We'll be back down there soon, but what we are going to be talking about today is not the weather. Instead, we're going to be talking about the spring signing period. Only makes sense as we are here in spring to be talking about what is sort of the home stretch for signing a lot of these athletes to rosters. We've got a lot of great questions that we have prepared, but once again, I will say it as folks are hopping on, feel free to throw your questions into the chat, whether you are on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. We will do our best to try and field as many of those questions as we can before we do wrap up here at 1 o'clock Central Time. So, Pat, we're starting off with our first question. Pretty basic one, but it's a good one to start with. What is the spring signing day in which athletes should be signing during this period? You all right if I take this first one for us, Pat?
Yeah, it's all you, brother. Go ahead.
It's a subject I'm passionate about, so I love being able to get on here and, again, just educate you all on what we're talking about in terms of the spring signing day, the spring signing window, and it really is a window of time. I know it's very easy to think about it as a day. You will hear spring signing day quite often, but it is a period of time that is really the home stretch for a lot of these senior athletes to make that commitment to their school and officially sign their national letter of intent. Now, as Pat O'Malley is going to talk through in a moment, when we say it is sort of the final signing period, I should really clarify that it's the last official signing period. That does not mean that there aren't going to be athletes who do sign and commit to their school after this final official period. Again, Pat can speak to that a little bit more, but the big thing that we do want to make sure that we are doing for those athletes who are not committed, who are entering into senior year and really trying to find that home, is make sure that you are staying open-minded. Make sure that you're staying on top of that communication with those coaches. Again, this is the home stretch for you. It's the home stretch for them. They would love to have that roster finalized, to have everything in there secure and ready to go. So when we think about spring signing day, we think about seeing spring signing period. Man, say that 5 times fast. We really just want to think about, again, maybe those late bloomers, those uncommitted seniors, the folks who, again, are just looking for where can I find their home. Pat, I know for you, you ended up finding your home a little bit later in your process. You were not one of these stories of signing at the start of junior year or anything like that. Do you want to speak to a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, I could definitely do that. And John, thanks for alluding to all that. I mean, it's so valuable to have this information, be educated on the process. That's why we started this 25 plus years ago, right? So what I would tell you, my process is, it was kind of unorthodox. I got my first offer at the end of my junior year. Shout out to Wisconsin and Whitewater. I went out to a practice. They put me in 8 different jerseys. My mom was excited. And then I watched them practice and realized, as a high school 16, 17-year-old, there was no way I was playing at last year's national champion Division III level. So after that, I went into my senior year uncommitted. I planned on having a big winter spring recruiting period, and I broke my hand. So that was unfortunate. We talked about injuries a little bit last week. After I broke my hand, I was out until the first week of April. Started playing after that, played April and May for high school, had a little summer ball, and then ultimately got my quote-unquote first offer of my senior year that June, July time during Legion Ball, and that was Oakton Community College. So shout out to the Raiders. They're the Owls now, but ended up finding a nice nationally ranked junior college home. So my point is, it's going to be different for everybody, but the cookie cutter staples of, hey, you got to sign on signing day, I'll break the mold and I'll shout it from the rooftops, John.
Absolutely, right? I know, again, everyone has that image in their head of sitting down at the table in the auditorium with all of the different hats in front of them. But of course, that's not always going to be everyone's reality. And the biggest thing, as I keep saying, is to keep those lines of communication open, keep an open mind, and please be mindful of the fact that college recruiting is a constantly evolving process. There might be even a coach. We told you 2 months ago, hey, we're all good. And guess what? Now we maybe have some athletes who transferred out of that roster. Maybe a roster spot is there that wasn't there a few months ago. So again, when I say last chance, it's that last chance to reach out to those schools that you want to, see if there maybe is a mutual interest there and see if we can keep that going. Now, in terms of the official signing period for spring, it is going to vary sport by sport. So definitely feel free to check out ncsasports.org for those official dates. Pat, I'm going to come to you with our second question of our 5 hitters today. What should student athletes do if they have not signed by the spring signing period? Again, caps and gowns are being ordered. We're watching our friends commit to a school, and it hasn't happened for you. What do you do if you're in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, this couldn't hit home more for me. I was the guy, like I said, that I was watching all my teammates. I even saw a couple buddies that were the grade lower than me commit to the Division I level as juniors when I was a senior. It can be very overwhelming as parents. I know we'll probably have some mom, dads, aunts, uncles, grandparents, guardians, whoever it may be, thinking, oh no, Pat, like that's me. I don't have, my kid's not committed and it's all my fault. The cool thing is it's never too late. I wholeheartedly believe there's a place to play for everybody. If the kid works hard, if the grades are good, and there's some tools there, we can work some magic over on the NCSA, IMGA side of the house. So I would say long-winded answer, but if you're not committed right now, get with people like myself, John, our whole family, our whole team, and we can help put a personalized plan in place for you. Because as you know, as parents and guardians, what everybody else is doing sometimes is not what your son or daughter should be doing. So those bleacher chats, those Facebook posts, come to the experts. We'll be here to help you. It's never too late.
Yeah, and I'll double down on that. If we are reaching out to you, the reason we are doing so is because we do still have those roster openings. I want to give you all the confidence that if you do have someone from NCSA that you're working with or someone that is reaching out to you to work with you, is because we have college coaches reaching out to us saying, hey, we still need spots filled. So hopefully it is a good use of your time to connect with NCSA and see again, what opportunities could still be out there. So, Pat, appreciate you kind of speaking a little bit to your experience. What do we got for our third question coming up?
I got you, brother. So what's the difference between a national letter of intent, the NIL, the NIL is what everyone always mixes it up with, right? So I'm just going to do it for the funny there. NLI, national letter of intent, and making a verbal commitment. Go ahead.
It's like you set me up perfectly. I was going to call
out.
You know me too well, you did. I love it. NLI is different than NIL. NIL, I know it's the subject that is hot in the streets, name, image, likeness. Maybe down the road we'll have to do an episode on NIL. But today we're talking about the difference between the NLI, the national letter of intent, and a verbal commit. A verbal commit is super exciting when we are on the phone with a family and they tell us, hey, we just verbally committed to this school. Or on the other side, we just got a verbal offer from a coach that is absolutely warranting a celebration. That is super exciting. We could not be more pumped up for you. However, it is worth noting that a verbal agreement is just that, is just words. And as much as we would love to say, hey, well, you gave us your word, you're good. You can go online and there are tales as old as time of it going both ways. A student athlete said, hey, I'm committed to your program, until a little birdie comes in their ear and says, hey, come to my school instead. And maybe that commitment flips. It goes the other way as well. Just because a coach says, hey, verbally, we would like to give you an offer, until that piece of paper is in front of you and you are getting it signed, well, nothing is official, which brings us to the national letter of intent. That is that sheet of paper. Again, that is not just putting a hat on your head and saying, I'm an ascender. It's putting that hat on your head, getting that pen and signing that paper saying, I am making this commitment. Again, it's a contract saying this is the school that I will be going to. And if you do want out of your national letter of intent, that needs to go through the school that you committed to. So again, I do not want to poo-poo on verbal commitments. They're absolutely awesome. They fire me up when we hear athletes getting verbal offers and verbal commitments, but we do want to make sure we are extremely clear that until you have put pen to paper, it is just that. It is just simply a verbal agreement. Pat, you work with student athletes very closely. I know that you have had this situation come up probably intimately with some of your athletes. What are your thoughts on verbal commitments there?
Yeah, it's not to scare anybody in the room. Just nurture those. What I mean by that, if you get one early, I just told you that I committed as a senior. A lot of times these athletes these days are committing as seniors in high school, but you'll get some early ones, end of junior year, maybe summer going into summer going into senior year. You'll see those come available and see them come about. What I will tell you is that they need to be nurtured. You should be having communication with that coach that recruited you at least weekly, maybe bi-weekly at the least. And not only that, but if you commit early, you better work twice as hard, because there's another class above and below, and the players in your class that are gunning for those opportunities. I just told you, I had some kids commit before me when they were juniors. I played longer in college than a lot of those players because they stopped working. So the biggest thing is right now, nurture it, grow those relationships with those coaches, and keep working, because once that banner goes up, once you sign, the real work is to be done.
Yeah, and I love what you just said there. Nurture and build those relationships. A lot of time you're going to hear us talk about not just getting recruited, but we're very clear to phrase it as the recruiting process. And it is exactly that. It is a process. And to your point, just because I have made that verbal commitment does not mean that that process is over. We want to continue nurturing those relationships and hopefully get some real momentum with the school that you verbally committed to make sure, hey, when I step onto campus, we're already firing on all cylinders, if you will. Let's go to question number 4. We're already getting some great questions in the chat, and I want to make sure that we are saving enough time to address some of those. Pat, do all sports and all divisions follow the same spring signing day rules and timeline? I mean, it seems simple, right?
Absolutely not. They are changing all the time. Baseball, softball, just to name a few in my world, they are changing all the time. There's somewhere Division I's first to the punch with a certain date, or D3 and NAIA can sprinkle some dates in. Sometimes there's no contact restrictions. I think the biggest thing I would follow is the recruiting timeline, not really those dates. Those dates are kind of outdated at this point. I would follow timelines and trends. And like I said, those are changing every day. They definitely changed in the last 10 years, John. So follow the timelines, follow the trends, and get educated. Be curious in the matter.
Yeah, and obviously I would assume most people on here maybe already are following us on social media, but even the social medias that we're not live on right now, X, TikTok, obviously again, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. Again, we are putting content out for you to get these updates when these dates are changing, when they're coming up. Hopefully, again, as we're having a lot of you hop on here, maybe you're not hearing about these things for the first time. If we are kind of keeping our ear to the ground, and I love the way you said it, Pat, just really being aware of what is trending and kind of where we at in that timeline. All right, question number 5. Hit me with it. What do you got, Pat?
Yeah, I got you. What are common mistakes student athletes make during spring signing day? There's a bunch of them, John. Give me a couple.
Man, and I hate to contradict myself here. I'm going to really make you feel like you need to hit the golden timeline here. But the two biggest mistakes that I see, and I'll hit you with the third one after, is waiting too long. And the second one is rushing their decision. And I know that kind of puts a bookend on trying to find the right time to make this commitment. But we don't want you to get into a situation where you're almost having paralysis by analysis because you are thinking about every different way that it could go if you committed to a school, where you're thinking, well, what happens if I'm a junior at this program and this happens? And what happens if this kid beats me out for a roster spot and I choose this program? At the end of the day, there is going to be a certain element, right? Probably like any relationship, of just diving in and saying, this feels right to me. With that said, sticking with the analogy of a relationship, just because the first date went well doesn't mean you necessarily have to buy a ring, right? It's okay to do your research. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to make sure that you are feeling confident, right? Have that second interaction, third interaction. See if there is a mutual interest here, not just you chasing down a school, not just them chasing you down, but again, is it working on both sides, and trying to find that middle ground of saying, yep, this is it. Let's commit. And I'll hit the third one now. I'll turn over to you for any other thoughts here. But I think a big thing is making sure that your expectations are realistic and that the school that you are looking at is a fit. And again, kind of touched on that before, but when I say is a fit, and we've talked about it a few different times during these 30-minute segments, but when I say a fit, it means a fit all around, location-wise, academically, coach, teammates, hell, school colors, right? Make sure that this is a fit for you. It doesn't mean maybe we'll check every single box, but if 9 out of 10 boxes are being checked, I think you might have found a good home for yourself. Pat, again, you have this conversation all the time with athletes. What do you describe as finding a fit? What does that look like to you?
Yeah, it's crazy. I go back to my experience at the 4-year level at Rockford University. I will never forget walking on campus, seeing it a little bit smaller, a little bit more community, a little bit more family feel. And I'm thinking, my mom, and I'm telling the tour guide too, shout out to Tamara. She was my tour guide at Rockford. I still remember her name. This is a long time ago. I remember going, this is it. If baseball ends tomorrow, this is my home for the next 4 years. And not only that, but on the academic front, I was going to school for education at the time. I remember thinking on the education front, this is not only going to serve me for the 4 years I'm here, but for the next 40 years. And John, hate to steal your line on that, but I had to. I love it so much. It stuck with me too. Do it for the next 40. The game ends. The ball stops bouncing. What are you going to do with that degree? And what are you going to do to maybe talk to kids one day like us?
Yeah. And I think what I'll also add is I love the kind of anecdote you shared of stepping onto campus and feeling like this is my fit, but it works the other way too. Get out onto campuses. I was just talking to someone who just got started with us here at NCSA. They were talking about their daughter's recruitment, and they got the chance to go out to LSU and got onto campus. And she said it was within 10 minutes. Her daughter looked at her and said, nah, this isn't it. Too big, too much going on here. So as much as it is about finding the right fit, let's also not forget that the process of doing that is sometimes finding the wrong fits along the way. So very much appreciate, again, Pat, you sharing some of your personal stories and giving us a little flavor there. We do have some great questions coming in. Pat, I'm going to give you our first one here. I know that you're a baseball guy, but you have a lot of athletes that come to you and they ask, what exactly should I be putting in a personal statement? So on Instagram, it looks like Shep Kurtz had asked, what's the best advice for putting together a personal statement for a tennis athlete? But I think probably we can answer this for all athletes. What are we looking for in there?
Shep Kurtz, shout out your IG handle. If I was still coaching in college, that would be someone I'd be like, oh, Shep Kurtz. I love it, brother. No, I love it. So here's what we'll do. Best advice for personal statement for tennis. First and foremost, Heather Gage is the tennis person over here at NCSA. Shoot her a follow, shoot her an ad on social media. Played at Air Force, one of my good friends. Heather Gage does a fantastic job, so get her on socials. Second thing, for the personal statement, don't make that thing a great American novel. Don't make it 8 to 10 paragraphs. Let's go with 1 or 2 paragraphs and talk about what separates you from another player. It shouldn't be that you work hard or that you play varsity or stuff that a lot of players do. Dig deep. One of my favorite ones I ever read talked about community involvement and looking to bring that to the program. There's little things that not a lot of 16, 17, 18-year-olds are doing. Find those things. If you need examples, I think Heather Gage would be a great place to start.
Yeah, and you know, we have a lot of wonderful technology tools out there, right? I think about ChatGPT and how I have utilized that sometimes to say, here's all of my thoughts. Can you help me put it into maybe a little bit more of a coherent sentence or paragraph? And you know, we talk a lot internally here at NCSA about core values. And I think you just touched a lot on that, Pat. If we can let a college coach read that statement and feel like they know you a little bit more beyond your batting average, beyond your, you know, tennis serve, beyond, you know, your dunking highlights, if we can get them a chance to understand what are the core values of this person that I'm about to recruit, hopefully it gives them just a little bit more incentive to pick up the phone and make that first contact.
I couldn't agree more. And I'll kind of slam dunk the point here by saying you're not really recruiting kids based on what they write, right? If you're not the best writer, don't think, oh my goodness, if my personal statement isn't that good, they're not going to recruit me. Please, guys, just do the best you can. Use your resources, a tutor, a parent, ChatGPT, use your recruiting coach. I promise you, they're looking for a lot of things. Don't let one deficiency let you down by any means.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Pat, I'm actually going to hit you back to back. All right. And Shep Kurtz, appreciate that. Very happy that we could give you a little insight. And yeah, definitely feel free to reach back for anything else. Pat, I'm going right back to you. I know we're normally kind of back and forth here, but I feel like
you double back, John. I'll get you double
exactly.
back.
I'm here for it. But I'm looking at this question. How do I get coaches to look at me if I live in a little state? And I'm going to alter that question a little bit. Thank you for asking it. But how do I get noticed by coaches if, yeah, I'm in a town, right? You can be in a big state, can be in a small town, and you grew up in a little bit of a smaller town than maybe I did. What was it like when coaches were not coming to games on Friday night out of the blue, when they weren't just swinging by Rockford, Illinois, or whatever it may be? How did you go ahead and get some more coaches to say, yeah, we got to pay attention to this Pat O'Malley kid?
Yeah, that's a really it brings me back is my point. It's discouraging when you go out there and you're like, big conference opponent. The coaches are coming out. I can feel it. And it's my mom cutting coupons. I'll bring her up a bunch of times on this. So my point is, if you're not proactively reaching out to college coaches, they're not going to know who you are. It doesn't matter if you're in Chicago, like myself, looking out my window, beautiful day out here in the Chi, or if you're in the middle of a field or open land in Wyoming. It does not matter. These offers come in, and they come in because you build that foundation, the emails, the phone calls, the social media, you get on campus and the offers come. The days of just men and women pulling up in big suits and clipboards and giving full ride offers, those days are over with. You have to lay the groundwork and you have to do it the right way. There's steps. You can't just skip them. It's not instant gratification. It's not TikTok out here unless you're on the stream right now.
Pat, that can't be true. I just watched The Blind Side, and from my understanding, you just need to have one play and all the SEC coaches show up to your
Michael
breakfast.
Orr is the wrong way to go about this. Shout out Michael Orr, a great movie. Yeah, but no, it's not that way, at least anymore.
No, and I'm with you. I grew up on the same, Disney movies, that same mindset of, like you said, you're running out of the tunnel about to go onto the field, and coach stops you and said, "Hey, the Ohio State Scouts in the stands, right? And you better have a good game." It just doesn't work that way, which leads us into, as you just said, emailing coaches, getting identified, trying to get that momentum going. We got the question, pretty simple one, but one we get a lot. How do I email coaches? What a great question. Couple different ways that you can go about it, right? Obviously, you could, of course, go about this on your own, but we understand there's a little bit more legwork on the front end that goes into finding a coach's email, making sure that you are presenting it in a way where it goes into the right folder. A lot of athletes aren't even aware that if you do go ahead and put an attachment in your email and it's coming from outside of the school, it might get flagged and not even get to that coach. So getting all of your information in one place in that email is super huge. But to add on to that, a great way, selfish plug, to make that happen is by using our message center within NCSA to find all of the coaches' emails nice and easily. You can tag the entire coaching staff from a school all at once and get that email sent over. And when I say get all of your information in one place, that's where something like an NCSA profile can be so handy. Is, we've said it before, we'll say it again, that is your athletic resume. All right. If you are sitting on your couch not applying for a job, it'd be pretty silly if you were saying, well, if I'm good enough, they'll just find me. We have to get that resume in front. We got to get that application, let them know there is an interest here, and hopefully see if we get one back. Pat,
John,
you emailed coaches.
I'm going back to you, man. I owed you the double down. We're going to go to it. I got one coming in about soccer. We'll just treat it like the other 30-plus major sports. Low Division I, top Division II. How long is the normal response time? I got a spin on this. Let's see if we're on the same page. Go ahead.
Boy, it really depends. And I hate giving a gray answer. I would love to give you more of a black and white. It takes 2 weeks and 1 day. But unfortunately, it really does depend. And a lot of aspects are going to fall into this. Seasonality, absolutely huge, obviously, depending on where they're at within the season. And I know we were talking soccer, but that's going to be across the board for all sports, right? If you were sending emails to the UConn or the Michigan basketball coaching staff in the last 2 weeks, yeah, they might have been a little bit busy, right? But if you are catching someone off season, the hope is that you can get a quicker response. Not to, again, give too much of a selfish plug, but that's a little bit why we're here. One of the nice things about using NCSA is you are able to see, did that email get opened? If it didn't get opened, maybe it just got lost in the wrong folder. If it got opened and we're not getting a reply back, could mean a couple things. Again, maybe we just need to be a little bit more of a squeaky wheel. Reach out again. Nothing wrong with a good double text. Or, like I said earlier, maybe we need to think about our expectations and figure out, are we looking in the right spot? And without knowing more about this athlete, hard to say. But Pat, what advice would you say? What spin zone you got?
Yeah, let's put a bow on this. And I appreciate everybody being here today, taking time out of a work day, or if you're on lunch at school, whatever it may be. I think the biggest thing here is understanding that you might not get responded back to. And that's okay. I've had athletes go on and reach out to 100 schools, get 3 responses, 2 offers, and commit. So if you're someone, and I saw the women's soccer example, which is close to my heart as well. I have athletes going through this out here in Chicago on the soccer side. If you're not getting those low D1, top D2 responses, go to D3, go to NAIA, go to JUCO, maybe go to other pockets of D1, D2. You're looking for that perfect marriage. If you got to date a little bit, like John alluded to, no shame in that. I found 2 great schools by dating and getting my heart broken and having those things happen. So you're looking for someone that loves you and wants to bring you a part of their culture.
Man, I would love to dive into that story more, but we are getting closer to out of time. We'll have to talk about Pat's love life next episode. But
please don't. We're good.
Next time we are going to be meeting with all of you is going to be 2 weeks from now. I believe that's going to be April 23rd. will be our next time that we are on with you. And we're going to try and get back again to the basics. I think recruiting is all about getting brilliant at the basics. So we're going to put those in front of you. And again, hopefully maybe save even a little bit more time at the end to answer those questions. So if we did not get a chance to get to yours, we apologize. If you do want to shoot your questions over or your interest in getting started, the email is right there for you. Next steps at ncsasports.org. Again, on different platforms. So depending on which one you're looking at, up or down, go ahead, send us over an email. We will be happy to field that and hopefully get back to you right away. And that's going to be it for us for today. Again, we're trying to keep these short and sweet. Hopefully, we know it's already a lot of information coming your way. It can feel like drinking through a fire hose. So hopefully these are good 30 minutes just to break down this information in a little bit more of a digestible way. And again, if you didn't get your question answered, you'll have to join us in 2 weeks. Do you want to just call out again, definitely if you are getting started in this process? I know we talked a lot about ending the process with signing period today, but if you're just getting started, there is no better way than getting started with an NCSA recruiting profile. Go ahead, get that created. We'll be happy to reach out with you, meet with one of our individuals to have that real human conversation. What does gang recruiting look like for you? With that said, my name is John Ludlam. That is Mr. Pat O'Malley. We will see you again in 2 weeks. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Thank you very much, team.
Johnny. Thanks, brother.